Hello, this is your host Akhil Navluria, and welcome once again to the continuation of my conversation with Mr. Kamppeter. As in the previous session, we were talking about a lot about open printing, about his contributions towards open printing, and interesting backstory associated with it. And having said that, the way he has collaborated with different IITs, universities, and colleges in India. Now, to keep the conversation, going a little bit forward now, or to resume the conversation per se, we're going to talk more about Linux Foundation and a lot about his involvement in the same. So, Jill, welcome back again to this conversation, and I'm really, really loving to, can we continue the conversation with you. So, Jill, how are you doing, and how was your, how was your week like the previous time? Jill, so Jill, can you give me an insight, into your involvement with the Linux Foundation?
Yes, it started back in 2006 when I was organizing my first Open Printing Summit. And I think I've told earlier about that. And during this Open Printing Summit, I met Jan Murdock, who was in the Free Standards group. And I asked him, as I said earlier, whether he would host Open Printing's website or the former linuxprinting.org's website. And then he told also that he would also host me. He would also give me a full-time employment to work at Open Printing. And paid by the Free Standards group. And so this way I got an employee of the Free Standards group. I do not give much details yet, as I have talked about in an earlier part. And
that's right.
Yes, so I got full-time employee of the Free Standards group. And in 2007, 1 year later, the Free Standards group merged with an open source development laboratory and OSDL. And so we got the Linux Foundation. And this way I got employee of the Linux Foundation. And due to the importance of open printing and my work for open printing, I got also quickly fellow of the Linux Foundation. So I'm one of the 8 fellows of the Linux Foundation. And in example for two other of the fellows are Linus Torvalds and Gregor Hartmann, both from the kernel. And this involved me deeper into the Linux Foundation, the employment, being a fellow. And while I was employed there, I also started the participation of the Linux Foundation in the Google Summer of Code and conducted this every year. And I conducted it every year up to now, even after not being employed anymore by the Linux Foundation. So the strong binding to the Linux Foundation still exists. And some years ago, I was looking into getting a full, I'd every 3 months, I had a phone meeting, my colleague Avik Basu and me, with Kate Stewart from the Linux Foundation, to exchange what happened at Open Printing with the Linux Foundation. And there came up the idea to make the Linux Foundation a full sub-organization to make Open Printing a full sub-organization of the Linux Foundation.
Okay.
And so that we can get sponsorships, memberships, so that we can handle money. But in the process did not go quickly. It all the time we had some email exchange and then it stopped again. And it was really not going on. And probably I was not putting too much pressure onto it because I was safely employed at Canonical. And now, where the layoff happened, and I needed to recover, I needed to make open printing continuing. I was, as I said, looking into all directions. And so I was putting pressure on creating the sub-organization. And up to now, it was still not fast, but I got pretty far with it. We have already agreed on the needed charters. We only need to do the formal act of founding it now. And so I hope that in a few weeks we can found it and I can start receiving sponsorships and memberships. And so make the Linux, make open printing stronger.
Okay.
Also assure my living. Also when the sovereign tech agency is not covering me anymore, to be able to continue leading leading open printing and have this as my living, as my day job.
That's pretty interesting. So, when we talk about Murdock, you met that particular person. So, what was your instant reaction, when you actually were thinking of, approaching him that, I have this idea and how do we get this together?
You mean now what happened in 2006 with Jan Murdock?
Yes, exactly.
I had organized this event. I got together something like 40 persons who have something to do with Linux and printing. And one was also Jan Murdock. And for a little bit of history, Jan Murdock is one of the two founders of the Debian Linux distribution. It was Jan Murdock, and I think it was his girlfriend or wife or so, and her name started with a Deb. And so the name of the distro was Debian, Deb,
Debian,
and Jan.
Right.
And yes. And I asked several people, not only Jan, or whether they have some possibility for me to host the linuxprinting.org server of that time, which was still running in the house of the original author. And this was something already which one cannot really do because the server received official PPD files from Ricoh and other manufacturers. And so such an official download server for printer manufacturers has to be in a data center. And therefore, I made use of this event. I already asked in the end of 2005 when I was on the Linux World Expo. I asked people whether they would host for me, but we did not get a hosting together by that. And so I was still without hosting when entering the Open Printing Summit. And there I asked several people, and Jan came up that he would host on freestandards.org and would also give me the employment.
All right.
And so the hosting moved. The server was at a safe place.
Okay.
Yes. And I had my employment. Yes. Unfortunately, Jan Murdock is not alive anymore.
Oh, okay.
He committed suicide, but Debian is going on.
That's pretty sad to hear, actually. about a young chap,
Yes,
with a lot of
yes,
vision and again, ending his
yes, yes.
life.
He was a great guy.
I mean, may God, bless his soul. And, again, it's what it is.
So, yes, this was how it worked out with Jan. And
All right. That's a pretty interesting story. So now, Till, like, what is your take on the importance of, the Linux technology in the European Union?
it is the following. It's all about, it's first all about the digital sovereignty. In the governments, it is heavily made use of once the services of the big tech, which means Google Drive, Google Docs, and so on, and equivalent things from Microsoft Office 356, Microsoft OneDrive, and so on. And these are big US American companies. And you know about the government of the US, which is not that free, democratic, and so anymore. And there is the big danger once that the government could get access of all the confidential government data of European governments, and also they could block the services to the European Union, so that suddenly they do not have access to all their data anymore. Also, the private companies could cease offering these services. And so we are in a very, very dangerous situation. And therefore, digital sovereignty is now the number one thing which everyone is talking about. And the governments are now working at different ends to reach digital sovereignty. And one thing is, that the standard operating system on servers is Linux. And also, Linux is free software made by many, many people all around the world. And so nobody can shut it down because there is no control by a single person, by a single government, or a single company on it.
Got it.
Yes, yes. And also the proprietary software, Windows, not only the services, also the proprietary software like Windows and Mac OS running on the desktop machines is also made by big tech, by big American companies. This can also get cut away from the European Union. And also, we do not know in all this closed source how much the software is spying on us, calling home, and how much there is control of the government on the other side of the ocean. And therefore, it is also not good that we are using this proprietary software, especially in government facilities. And also, and therefore, the work on getting digital sovereignty. And there are different points to get towards it. For example, the German government is strengthening for that the free software development, the maintenance of essential infrastructure for all the IT on the world. You know, the XKCD in XKCD, I don't remember the number, but I think I will add the link to the show notes.
Yes, absolutely.
There is a castle, a nice big castle, and at the bottom of the castle is one little stone carrying it all. And if you would take away the stone, all the castle would break together. And then it is marked, the castle, as all the world's IT infrastructure. And the little stone, some random guy in Nebraska who thanklessly worked on something. And this is the situation of free software. It was not only that we had a server in some person's house running, and it is carrying important data for infrastructure. It is very often in free software that somebody has created something as a hobby. Even the kernel was created as a hobby. And he was developing and maintaining it. And all of a sudden, this piece of software made it into all the Linux distros.
Okay.
And out of this, it makes it into all the servers around the world. And then we find a security flaw, security vulnerability. We get a CVE, and we get many CVEs. And it can be that many CVEs are due to bugs in some little piece of software coming from some hobby developer. And suddenly he gets the obligation that he fixes the CVEs so that all world's IT infrastructure gets safe again.
Interesting. That's a pretty interesting insight on it, Till. Yeah.
Yes. Imagine that the altimeter of a plane is made and developed by a hobby, by some hobby guy in his garage.
Okay.
Yes. And so now you see the problem. For example, libxml. I have yesterday, the video was old. I watched a video from Brody, and it was about exactly this problem. He told about the maintainer of libxml step down, libxml2 exactly step down, and he told about all the problems and so, and then he gave as a good example, because this video was already after my takeover tea, he gave as a good example me and being covered by the Sovereign Tech Agency. And so, yes, I will add the link to the show notes. And so you see the Linux, the Sovereign Tech Agency is an organization of the German government, not only of the European Union. And this organization is supporting, investing in free software projects so that the maintainers can do their work and get paid for it.
Okay.
Yes,
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yes. And they have different programs for different ranges of support. I'm covered by the so-called Sovereign Tech Fund, and it is to cover me full-time, for now, full-time from October 2025 up to the end of 2026.
Pretty good deal.
Yes. And this is only an initiative of the German government, but there's already discussion, talk about that one should make this this kind of organization a EU organization.
Right.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Because all the EU is benefiting from free software. And there are also other points. For example, in France, they are mainly or have mainly already switched over. They use Nextcloud all over and have switched a lot to free software. And I think that I've already heard also that they are teaching free software at school. Yes, yes, but I'm not sure. I've only seen the headline as the title of a video of the Linux experiment, which is a French guy. But I did not watch the video, and the video is already 2 years old or so.
So probably,
So
it must have got a little bit
the
outdated.
initiative must be so the initiative must be already on the way for some time. And
Absolutely, it is.
yes, and when I'm looking into social media, I'm participating in Mastodon and in LinkedIn, especially in Mastodon. There is a lot of posting of the Sovereign Tech Agency and also of the Bundesamt für Sicherheit in der Informationstechnik of Germany, the German Authority for Security in IT. There are also a lot of posts that they are warning about the dangers and so on. And
got it.
yes, yes. Yes, and so there is, and currently they have an initiative that they ask people, and also and especially people who do something important in free software, to give some statement, and they are collecting these statements currently and to get more insight into what has to be done. But unfortunately, not all the governmental organizations in the EU have already boarded the train. Especially, there's some very, very bad news that Bavaria, one state of Germany, wants to do a big long-term contract with Microsoft.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yes, yes, that's really interesting with this background. And another thing another problem which I did not mention of big tech is also providing artificial intelligence services, and these work by once needing to harvest a lot of data for the training, and so big tech, which is providing free of charge services which involve data storage. This can be Office 356. It can be Google Drive. It can be also even GitHub, because GitHub is owned by Microsoft, and Microsoft is one of the major players of AI with Copilot. So that they are harvesting the data.
Yep.
Yes, and regardless of the license of the data, because all the data which is there stored is can be either completely private, and if this is the worst, and if it is published, then it is always published under a certain license, and even if the author does not supply a license, then just the laws are applying, and when the laws are applying, then it's not free. And also free software has also a license. You are not allowed to do everything with it, and so they are grabbing all this data not not respecting the author's licenses, and basing their AI answers on that. Yes, AI is not really intelligence. It is just high performance computing.
Yes,
And
yes, that is true.
yes, and this is totally unethical. And what is also unethical is the consumption of energy and the need of hardware, which makes energy and hardware very expensive because they are emptying the market. And so digital and so the artificial intelligence is also a bad thing when it is provided by big tech. And this is deeply integrated in big tech's desktop applications, which even led to somewhere somebody telling that Microsoft is turning Office 365 into Copilot 365. Making the impression that the user does not write anything anymore. Microsoft does it for them, and this we do not want.
Indeed, indeed. That is true, Till. Yes, that actually, gives me an idea, and it really gives me an idea on the digital sovereignty. That's the main talking point in Europe now. Now, having said that, Till, like, are there any interesting success stories and anecdotes, that you've experienced in your IT journey that you would like to, share in this podcast session?
Yes, yes. One thing is, I am doing, as I said, for many years, the Google Summer of Code. I'm mentoring people, and I got some, unfortunately, I got many people who were joining, who were applying for a project only because they want to have a point in their CV, in their resume. And so they joined, they got onboarded by me, they did some assignments, and finally, as they did this all well, they got selected by me. And we did a project, but when the project ended, they were simply going away. Sometimes I was more lucky that the person stayed with us, but when they then complete their course and get their first day job, it most often happens that then they do not continue participating in open printing. This is very sad, but I had also some good people, some really good people. And one person, for example, he applied and got selected and doing a project with us at for open printing. And it was Akarshan Kapoor, who worked on the Google Summer of Code project of scanner applications, meaning that one makes a sandboxable application which emulates a driverless network scanner, and on the backside it runs sane and controls a non-driverless scanner. And he was a really great guy. In 2023 was this project. And in 2023, I was organizing the first Opportunity Open Source conference in India. And we planned to do it in Mandi. And he was in Mandi. He has studied in Mandi. And so he has organized all the Opportunity Open Source from the on location side. getting the rooms and getting accommodation and finding volunteers and so on. So he was really a great guy, and he did even 2 times Google Summer of Code with me. And he did 2 semesters in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And while being there, he did also an internship at a company which works with a Zephyr. This is a real-time operating system, an operating system for IoT, for these tiny boards which control devices.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's also totally free software, and it works on microcontrollers which are not powerful enough to run Linux. And he did an internship there for making sensors for pumps on German trains to empty their wastewater tanks. And he gave then a talk on the Ubuntu Summit 2020. He gave 2 talks in 2023. He gave about the scanning project, and in 2024 on the Ubuntu Summit he gave on the IoT internship. And he is very, very much fond of open printing. He calls me the king of printing, and what his dream actually would for him would be to be me.
Okay, that's pretty nice.
Yes. And then after he has finished the course, he has moved to Germany and is working now at that company. So he is working with Zephyr, with IoT. And yes. And he told on LinkedIn that he did not want to get the typical career of an Indian, that he does his course, that he gets an internship in the Indian office of some big tech, and then gets after the course some day job at a big company. And so he wanted to be different.
Everyone has their own aspirations.
Yes, and made his way to Germany.
Interesting.
This was the greatest thing which happened to me with the Google Summer of Code, and really the biggest success story. And I'd also another Google Summer of Code contributor.
Okay.
One thing is, but in the very beginning, when I started my career, I was, as I said, attending the Linux Tag 2000, and only 1 year later, I was deep into my very first open source conference. And 1 year later, I was already deeply into it and organizing a booth on the Linux Tag. And similar with this contributor, and even more than that, this contributor, he did in 2023, in 1 year, he did Google Summer of Code with KDE to improve the KDE package manager so that one can set permissions for snaps. Snap packages. Snap is a package format, and it's a distribution independent sandboxed packaging format so that one can, similar as on smartphones, install these packages on any distro, because the standard packages of the distributions, they are specific to the distribution, and not only specific to the distribution, meaning an Ubuntu package works on Ubuntu, even specific to the version of Ubuntu. One can only say an Ubuntu 24.04 package works on Ubuntu 24.04. And therefore we really needed the sandbox packaging. And so there appeared the Snap and the Flatpak formats, which are two formats of sandbox distribution independent packaging. And so he did this, and then he was applying for a booth, and he is in an organization, in an open source organization called Snapcrafters. And this organization is making Snap packages of applications where the original developers do not do Snap packages. And so he was into Snap. He knew a lot about Snap. And therefore, he applied on the Ubuntu Summit 2024. So he did the project in the Google Summer of Code 2024. He applied for a booth and for a workshop. And I was in the organization committee from 2022 to 2024. I was in the organization committee of the Ubuntu Summit, and I saw his proposals in the CFP, in the call for proposals. And I saw that he did these proposals not alone, but together with others from Snapcrafters, especially also Heather Ellsworth. And so, for who does not know her, the Ubuntu Indaba, which is linked in the show notes, was hosted by her. And currently she is at Thunderbird, and she was for a long time at Canonical, and was also, while she was at Canonical, in the organization committee of the Ubuntu Summit, but not anymore in 2024. There she was already on Thunderbird. And now, I saw this application, and it was shortly before the GUADEC in Denver, which I was attending. So when I went to the GUADEC, I met Heather and talked with her about this application of Soumyadeep together with her and others. And she told me about Soumyadeep, and that Soumyadeep is will attend the UbuCon Asia 2024 in India, and I was also already scheduled to attend it, because it was 1 week, and I have planned it this way, 1 week apart of the Opportunity Open Source of the second one in 2024. And I planned it this way to catch two conferences. And so I met Soumyadeep on at the evening before the first day of the UbuCon Asia in India, and we talked about, and on the UbuCon Asia he had also a Snapcrafters booth. And this means when I arrived there, I arrived already earlier than Soumyadeep. I already asked the organizers to give us a TV for the booth, and they did. And when I met Soumyadeep, I had a lot of conversation with him about his booth, the application for the booth on the Ubuntu Summit. And so I started mentoring him. He told me that the UbuCon Asia was his very first conference, his very first flight, his very first trip alone. It was a lot of new things for him. And I started mentoring him. And for attending conferences, for doing the contributions. And I offered him to be my co-speaker on the Snap workshop, which I was giving on the UbuCon Asia, so that he has some kind of rehearsal for his Snap workshop on the Ubuntu Summit, which was afterwards. And so in the 2 nights before the 2 conference days, I don't know whether I slept three hours per night or so, because I was talking with him half the night. Yes, I've blogged about this. So another link for the show notes. And
interesting.
Yes. And so we were doing then the booth together and the workshop. And for the workshop, he already contributed very well for its organization, as when I showed to him my workshop, which I've given on many conferences, he told, here the Wi-Fi is very bad, you cannot let them do exercises where everyone builds a GNOME-based Snap, because the GNOME-based Snap build is downloading all the libraries of GNOME. And so everyone would do it at the same time, and we would get a DOS, a denial of service, on the conference network. So then he worked out with me exercises, examples for the workshop, which are command line based applications. Fortunately, Snap supports this. Flatpak, for example, is only for desktop applications. So, and then he approached also the organizers and asked them that we get to give the workshop in the plenary room. And the other talk, which had happened in the plenary room, was moved into the breakout room, because the plenary room has a stronger Wi-Fi. And the organizers did it with us, and it was all great. It was a really great UbuCon Asia with Soumyadeep. And then afterwards, I met Soumyadeep on the Ubuntu Summit again, and we started discussing whether I would co-host with Opportunity Open Source 2025, the UbuCon India 2025. He, with some other people from India, wanted to found a new conference. We start the local community India, the local Ubuntu community India, and found the UbuCon India conference. So during the preparations for the Opportunity Open Source, we had a lot of discussion and thoughts and how to do all of this, but in the end it turned out that we could not do it together, that there were things which did not work out very well doing the 2 conferences together, and they decided to run the UbuCon India separately at a later date, somewhere in November. And there, Soumyadeep was the principal organizer. So he has attended an open source conference for the first time in his life. And 1 year later, he was principal organizer of the conference.
Okay. That's interesting. That's a pretty interesting journey of his.
Yes. So he was also a great Google Summer of Code student for me. He did only one project with me in 2025. As once also in that night at the UbuCon Asia, we were also talking about Google Summer of Code, and I told that I'm mentoring and hosting for OpenPrinting and the Linux Foundation, and he got very much he got very enthusiastic about the OpenPrinting, and then he told directly he wants to do a project with OpenPrinting, and I suggested to him to do Python bindings for libcap 3, and he told it's a great thing that he would do it, and he started to prepare early, and he did it really well. He did a lot of research and found out that the old version for libcaps 2, which was done many years ago by Red Hat people, was very awkwardly done, and he found a much easier and better method to make these bindings. And so he did a great thing. And he was also blogging frequently, I think once a month or so that one could read a lot about his thoughts. It was really great to work with him, even that we did not succeed to do a conference together.
Okay.
But and in the end, when the Google Summer of Code ended, and I met him on which conference then? Now I must think about. I met him. Which conference was that? Was it in Malaga? I think yes. I think it was the Open Source Code in Malaga, but I'm not. No, I don't know. On some conference I met him. No, or was it in? No, it must be. Was he on the Opportunity Open Source? I don't know. No. Now I remember. It's Nepal. I was on the UbuCon Asia 2025 in Nepal,
right.
and
Nepal.
there
Okay.
I met him. There I
Right.
met him again, and he told me he wants to continue at OpenPrinting. He wants to do more with bindings. He wants to do this universal API, where I now forgot how it is exactly called.
No worries.
And
No worries.
yes, and he even would oxidize cups. Oxidizing an application means converting it into Rust, into the Rust programming language, as Rust is a programming language which is memory safe. And the main cause for bugs, for crashes and vulnerabilities in C programs are memory violations. And Rust is memory safe. So when you program something in Rust, by this the software gets more stable, reliable, and secure. You can even cause security vulnerabilities in Rust programs or a crash, but you cannot get any memory violations.
Interesting. That's pretty much interesting.
Yes, and therefore there's a lot of is a lot of interest in Rust. Parts of the kernel are already written in Rust and already officially accepted by Linux. And there's a whole desktop environment written in Rust. It is called Cosmic. The project is done by System76, an American laptop manufacturer who makes laptops designed for Linux. And they have for a long time in their operating system, Pop! OS, used GNOME, but certain things with GNOME they did not like, and so they've decided to do their own desktop environment some years ago, and it's Cosmic, and it's completely written in Rust. The desktop was released in version 1.0 some weeks ago, and it is 1.0, but 1.0 usually has a lot of teething issues. And yes, I've watched some videos of different YouTubers. Linux Experiment, especially that guy wanted to turn it into his daily driver, but is still not doing it, is still staying with the cool desktop environment, KDE. And because there are still certain things which are not good, especially handling of multiple monitors, and also the applications which are on board the desktop, like the editor, the calendar, and the PDF viewer, and such things are also not so good yet.
All right.
But Cosmic is very well doing. It has very interesting features, especially it is a full desktop, but has optionally also the possibilities to handle the windows, not only like in classic desktops, but also like with tiling window manager. This is a really good idea. I found a really good idea to have this all together in one desktop. And so it has a lot of potential. And I have the feeling that in 1 or 2 years, it can compete with GNOME and KDE. It will be really the new kid on the block. And therefore, I'm also involved with developers of Cosmic. Already in the 2025 Google Summer of Code, I've let 2 students do bindings, Rust bindings, one student for libcubs and one for Common Print Dialog backends, so that with these Rust bindings, one can write desktop applications, either desktop applications which print, like an editor or an Office solution, or desktop applications which are printer setup tools with which you can manage printers.
Got it.
And yes, these 2 were successful. I have reported about this also in the chat of the Cosmic developers. And one of the first answers came from the CEO of System 76. The name. What was the name?
No problem.
Carl Richer. And yes. And he was very enthusiastic about it, and he likes the idea that I will do Google Summer of Code projects which are towards printing support in Cosmic.
That's interesting, Till. So Till, before we actually, conclude our podcast session, let's take a lighter route, in the form of a rapid fire. On all this while, completely I was bombarding, you with all the questions about your journey, about open printing, about the Linux Foundation and your collaboration with different IIT universities. Trust me, I just had a great time, hearing from you about your collaborations with many biggest industry leaders in India and your rapport of the Linux Foundation in India. And also, about I just got blown up by this, this vast software, so which is really lovely. And I just want to, know more about it as probably if we ever connect in the future, and if I ever come to Austria and we meet up, for sure we can talk in detail about this particular topic. So without any further ado, let's kick off with the first question of the rapid fire round. So are you ready with it, Till?
Yes.
All right. So Till, the first question to you. So Till, I'm pretty much keen to understand, since you're based in Austria, do you have any favorite, football team, football club that you support?
For what?
Do you have any favorite football club, football team?
No. I have one thing which perhaps you did not see while recording this video. I have a problem with my vision. When I want to read something in a book or so, I have to take the book very close to my eyes, because my eyes, in the back, there's a sensor, the retina, and this is very similar to the sensor in a digital camera, and it has a given resolution. And on my eyes, the resolution is much lower. So if you have 100 pixels per inch normally, I would have only 10 in one dimension.
I get your
point.
Or
if you think about megapixels, if you have a camera with 100 megapixels, which would be the normal eye, my eye would be a camera with 10 megapixels. 100, with 1 megapixel. 1/100th because we have 2 dimensions and each dimension is 1/10.
Yeah.
Yes. Engineering mathematics. And
Got it.
yes. And so my vision is very bad. I see sharp pictures. I see you sharp. I see myself in the little image at the bottom sharp. And I see all my environment sharp, but with a lower resolution. So if there's a detail like a sign, I need to be 10 times closer to the sign to be able to read it than the average person.
Got it.
With this already, I have inherited it. I had it already since I was born. And so when I was a kid, I never was able to play any ball games like soccer, tennis, basketball or so. I could not do that. And I could also not follow ball games shown on TV. This way, I did not develop interest in this kind of sports or in general interest in sports. So I never watched sports on TV. And the few times when I was in a stadium, it was only socializing with friends and not for the game.
No problem. Yeah.
Yes. And so therefore I don't have a team.
No problem. That does, I mean, you have your team of, people that, you connect with and, you network around. So that is more important than, having a football club, supporting a football team. That's good to know. Till I'm pretty keen to understand, since I come from India and I'm Indian, I'm of the Indian origin. So did you, when you traveled across India, in all your collaborations with IIT and with all different events, did you ever have a chance of trying any Indian food? And if you did, what is your favorite Indian food that you like to always have?
I have tried a lot of Indian food. I did not develop really a favorite. But one thing is, Indian food is much more spicy than European food. And so I always had to order it non-spicy, less spicy. And I also was wondering about, it starts already with breakfast when the Indians are eating spicy food and they eat three meals a day with spicy food. And so in the hotels, I've always ordered something more European than Indian to have at least one not so spicy meal a day.
I understand.
But on the other side, when I was on one of the Ubuntu summits, I was with Soumyadeep, and so this is 2024, and with one non-European, non-Indian person, Liam Proven from the Register. He writes about free software and open source, what happens in Europe in free and open source software on the site, the Register. And we went into an Indian restaurant, and it's the other way around. Indian restaurant in Europe, it's already not so spicy because they know the Europeans. Then Soumyadeep asked, please make it for so spicy as we are used to it in India, and Liam also. So there are some crazy European guys like Liam who want the Indian spiciness. I already asked also Liam whether he wants to come to India to also to cover the Opportunity Open Source, but he told he would not be able to get there because he is only covering Europe.
All right. Okay.
Yes,
that's pretty good, and yes, that's a good anecdote, and I really was in splits when I heard about this. Now, having said that, Till, I asked you about the Indian food, and you like a little bit non-spicy. Now, when I ask about your favorite, your comfort food, what would that be?
My comfort for what?
Your comfort food. Your comfort food.
So what I prefer to eat, yes, it is more Indian food. Brazilian food, Brazilian food.
Okay,
Yes, yes.
okay.
My wife is Brazilian,
Mhm.
and I am married with her for more than 20 years now. And I met her back in 2000 during my PhD from 1997 to 2000. I was not only system administrator, I did actually also a PhD in theoretical physics. And part of
Man,
this PhD
okay.
was a collaboration with a university in Brazil, in Belo Horizonte, the third largest
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
city of Brazil in that time.
Of course.
And I was therefore every year for 2 months in Brazil, in total
Hmm.
4 times. And due to this, I went to Portuguese classes there in Germany in the university where I made PhD, and in Brazil I was talking more and more, and in already with a second visit only Portuguese. And I got fluent in Portuguese. So the fourth
Hmm.
time when I was there, I was fluent in Portuguese. And
Okay.
then in the university, I met my wife, and she was also doing PhD in physics, and we were meeting there. In 2004, we married, and since 2007 and since 2006, we lived together. And so we naturally, she and also me, we like a lot the Brazilian food. And so when we started cooking at home, it was it was a little bit in Paris because restaurants were bad and expensive, but also really it started when we lived in Berlin from 2008 on. We are cooking also a lot of Brazilian things,
Hmm.
especially feijoada, which is a stew of black beans with bacon and some pork meat and things in it, which is a national dish in Brazil.
Okay.
And in Brazil, they actually do it in a very special way. They do not use the usual good to say good parts of the pork, but more the not so good parts like the the tail, the feet, the nose,
Oh
and
my
things like
God.
that,
That's bizarre, I
because
mean.
the dish was developed by the slaves in the time of slavery.
Yeah, yeah,
There
yeah.
were slaves in the houses, and they also needed to eat, and so they got only the rests, which and so they made out of these rests the feijoada.
Hmm.
Yes.
Makes sense. Makes sense. That that's a pretty interesting choice, and a very extreme one for me, for my taste. Well,
Yes, yeah. But
yeah.
it's great. You must come to Brazil.
Surely, I would love to. I would love to one day. Definitely plan it out. So
Yes, yes.
now, till like since you're based in Vienna, what are your three favorite restaurants in Vienna?
My three favorite restaurants. We do not go very much to restaurants. We are mostly cooking by ourselves. So I'm not a very good tourist guide.
Okay,
There were many good restaurants, but now I'm not really remembering which ones.
no problem. No
Yes.
worries.
Are you planning a trip to Vienna soon?
I would love to visit Austria because Austria is, it's on the number one of my top list to, visit any country because I've seen a lot about Austria and I'm like blown. I was like, I have to visit Austria someday.
Yes, yes. But from Australia to Austria, it's a
Huge
little
trip.
long. You must connect it with a trip to India, so that you
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
have, so to say, a stopover in India.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
you do a round the world trip. You
Yep.
start in Australia, go to India, and from India you go to Austria, perhaps
Yep.
also another European destination. Once in Europe, there's a lot of nice things. And then from there you go to Brazil, and from Brazil you hop over the Pacific Ocean back to your home.
Yeah, that's a very good itinerary. I will do that. Thank you for suggesting me that. That's a beautiful one. Now I'll ask you two questions now in this case. Like what things about Brazil, that you like the most, and what are the things about Austria that you like the most?
Yes, in Brazil, there are a lot of different things. Once the people are very nice there, very friendly, and it's really human warmth and so on. And you are very well served in restaurants, in stores, at doctors' offices, and so on. They are very friendly to you and help you and really help you. And so this is really great there. And one or other thing in Brazil, you eat very well, as I told.
Yeah.
And there's much more things like than feijoada. There are a lot of nice dishes. And
Hmm.
you also, it's also not so cold as in Europe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is not there.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. When I've lived there for 3 years, I was all the year wearing shorts.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And yes, I've lived there for 3 years. But we settled in Vienna because Vienna often was elected by certain newspapers to be the most livable city on the world.
Hmm?
And in Vienna, it is all well different. Vienna is very clean. It has a very efficient public transport system consisting of
Okay.
subway lines, 5 subway lines, a lot of trams, a lot of buses, everything running with a high frequency, everything clean,
Hmm.
and really working very, very well. And so
Okay.
if you live in Vienna, I live near the center of Vienna, you do not need to own a car because you can get everywhere by public transport.
Yes.
And also, if you would own a car, it would be difficult to find a parking space for it. You would have to park it somewhere at the street. And so every time when you come home, you have to search for parking a lot because,
Hmm. Got it. Got
and
it.
yes, yes. Or you have to pay a fortune to rent a place in a garage.
Got it.
And
Got it.
this is then perhaps often not close to your home.
Hmm. This is a pretty risky proposition. Now,
Yes,
till
yes.
you told me that you're completely fluent in Portuguese and in German, since you're German by origin. I'm pretty keen to understand, like, is there any particular Portuguese word or German word that you would like to teach me?
Yes, yes. What can I teach you? You need to know if you are a tourist and want to get into a foreign country, you need to know at least 5 words. Uh,
Hmm.
in German, it is ja,
Ja,
nein,
ja, nein,
bitte,
bitte,
danke,
danke.
and wo ist mein Gepäck?
Wo ist mein Gepäck?
Yes, and it is yes, no, please, thanks, and where's my baggage?
Okay, wo ist mein Gepäck?
Yeah,
Right.
yes, and in Portuguese it is sim,
Sim,
não,
não,
Noun.
Noun.
Por favor.
Por favor.
Obrigado.
Obrigado.
E onde está minha bagagem?
Too fast.
Onde está a minha bagagem?
Onde está a minha bagagem?
Ah, great. Now you're prepared for your own trip.
You have given me a good itinerary and good heads up on this. Pretty much. Thank you so much for that, Till. I love it. Now, Till, do you have any favorite Hollywood movie that you always like to watch, like in your in your wish
No,
list?
not really, not really.
Okay. All right. I'll skip this question. Then I'll ask you, like, what is your favorite hobby?
My favorite hobby was for a very, very long time. It was photography. I was taking a lot of photos with interchangeable lens cameras in the beginning, DSLRs, and later on mirrorless cameras. It started when I was living in Paris and working at Microsoft, and when I was organizing my first booth on the Linux Tag.
Okay.
I got a lot of printers, nice color photo printers from Epson and from other sponsors.
Yeah.
And then I decided I buy a digital camera so that I can demonstrate the printers. And then owning a digital camera, I got more deeply into photography. But in the last years, I did not do that really anymore because I worked more and more with OpenPrinting, with the OpenPrinting organization, and had less and less time for a hobby.
Got it. Makes sense, Till. That's a pretty good hobby. I really love it. And the final question to you, Till.
Yes,
what was
in some form, I have already turned my first hobby into a profession. Right back in 2000.
Wow. Nice.
When I started at Microsoft.
Right. That's pretty good. That's pretty good to hear, Till. That's lovely. So now, Till, the final question to you in this rapid fire round. What was the last song that you have heard, from your playlist or anywhere on the radio?
No, I don't remember, and I don't have a playlist.
Okay. Do you have any favorite song of yours?
No. Yes, because one thing is I'm not actively listening to music. It is nice when in an environment there's music, but I'm not searching for music. I'm not having playlists or listening to the radio or doing things like that.
Got it. Okay. Fair enough. That's not that's not an issue at all. Now, I'll give you like two choices. I mean, which one do you like the most? Do you like the beaches or do you like the mountains?
The beaches.
The beaches, okay. And is it because of your travel to Brazil and you've seen a lot of
Brazil, yes, yes. Brazil really play the important role in that, because I got to a lot of nice beaches in Brazil, but I got very, very rarely into the mountains.
Okay.
I also due to my vision, I never tried to ski.
I got it. Yeah.
Yes.
No worries. Beaches is a better option.
Yes. Otherwise, nobody is able to print if I tried it.
Yep. Got it. Completely, sums up the point for me, Till. So, Till, finally, once again, thank you so much for, taking time from your busy schedule and, being part of my podcast initiative. I just loved our entire conversation. When you started about your timeline, your complete rendezvous with printing, with open printing, the start of it, then with the Linux Foundation, your collaboration with, IITs, then each and everything, kept me going. It just, completely lured me into the conversation. So I had a lovely time conversing with you, Till, and also Till, you are like literally an inspiration for people, to know about technology and, to know in depth about it. Trust me, I have done podcasts with many people, but from your end first time, you went completely into the depth of it. So I just love that so much, Till, and thank you so much once again for being part of my podcast initiative.
Thank you very much also for inviting me.
All right.
It was
All right,
great
let's.
to record the podcast with you. And I hope many people who will watch this podcast will learn a lot about open printing and join open printing and get enthusiastic
Yes. Yes.
because it is also for many people a first impression of open printing, this podcast, because I will add it to the onboarding materials.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's pretty good, Till. So, on this note, listeners, this is your host, Akhil Navluri, signing off. We will be back with another podcast episode with another eminent industry leader very soon. Till then, keep listening. Goodbye, stay tuned, and au revoir.